Okay, on the bench right now I've got a GPS navigation unit. This just showed up in the mail. I'm pretty excited about this. So just go around the various sides of the box here. You can see that the box it came in and what it looks like, etc., etc. Everyone is always asking for a unboxing, so here you go. And this is what it looks like when it first arrives, all shiny new. It's in some sort of a protective, actually that's quite nice. It's an air-filled air pack to keep it safe. So this is going to be the GPS screen. Oh, I really like that thing. Anyway, and here it is here inside of a nice plastic sleeve, and there I am. Hello. So that's pretty cool. I really like that. It's got a nice form factor. It has kind of a rough feel to the back. There's a kind of a sunshade on top. Looks like a speaker on the back. As well on the back you have a headphones port, be an SD drive and that, or SD card slot, and that'll be for this size, the micro SD. You have to provide your own. It doesn't look like it came with one. There's a COM port, so that's probably a microphone of sorts, and then the USB plug-in. So there you go. There's a peel and stick thing here, so you got to take that coating off there. I'm going to leave it on for now and see if it works with that on there. Just to protect the screen for as long as I can. So, power button on the top as well. Missed that earlier. So there you go, and there's a little clip there. I bet that's for a mount, and two little clip holes on the bottom. So that's going to be where you mount it. Let's set that to the side for now. What else is in the box? It also comes with a suction cup mount. So you're going to peel this plastic off of here and then stick that to your window. And this is going to become your mount. This is going to mount onto this guy here, I presume. And yes, those look like they're going to match. So you're going to stick that into there like that. So this guy is just going to line up with those two slots on the bottom. So you're going to line that up till it clicks in like that. And then press the top in like that. And that is mounted. Then this is going to mount on here. You're going to listen for a click, and there it is mounted. Now you can take this and mount that to your windscreen somehow, wherever position you want that in. Once you've got in the position you want, you dial this down and that'll solidify it there. And it also swivels this way, so that's a good feature to have. You can have it there or whatever you need for your angles for excellent viewing. Now, what else is in the box? It also comes with a cigarette lighter adapter. So the cigarette lighter adapter is here, pretty straightforward. It's going to have a power monitor light. There's going to be a fuse in here. If I unscrew this, you'll see there's a fuse in there. And then the then the USB plug-in there. And there's another short cord here. I'd presume that this is for plugging it into the computer for updating firmware, etc. I'd imagine that's what that is for. Last but not least, we have the instruction manual. So let's just have a quick look. I always like to read through these things because there's lots of good information to get started in there. So, setting the language of the map. So it has different languages. You can go through all this when you get yours, but here's the pages individually. Looks like there's an FM modulator in there, so it will speak through your car speakers. That's going to be pretty cool. Factory reset, navigation, GPS view, goes through all these things. Date and time setting, navigation menu. Oh, voice settings, so you can choose different voices, probably accents or languages, etc. Setting the destination, time zone setting, volume setting, and then we are into French. So we have English. Looks like French, German, Italian. So English, French, German, and Italian. So there you go. Have a look through the GPS manual. That's going to be important. So here is everything that comes in the kit. You've got the user's manual, the firmware upload USB cord, the power cord that goes to the cigarette lighter, and the GPS unit itself with an adjustable adapter. Let's take this thing out to the car now, get it installed, and we'll walk through some of the programming and menus and see how it works. Okay, after fooling around with this thing out in the car trying to get the video set up and make a decent video to show you how it works, I gave up and I brought it back inside. I'm just going to plug it in. I've got a kind of a battery pack here that's plugged in, and I'm just going to plug it in. So this is what you're going to see when you first turn on your car. And the unit comes on in the vehicle. Comes on with a welcome screen. Aonrix is the company that makes this, I suppose. And once the welcome screen goes away, then you are brought to this screen, depending on how you have it set up, of course. So I'm going to go through a few of the settings here. It's got I mean, there's a lot to this thing. You can see up in the upper right corner there that it's charging. We're having trouble right now with the satellites because we're, of course, inside. So I'm going to go start right with the bottom of this menu. This has a PC platform behind it, so when you go to here, you can see the file or the background desktop that's running. So you have most of the options that you'd have on a regular computer here, connected to Wi-Fi, and you'd be able to get on the internet, etc. So we're going to go back to the YG main, which is our main thing here. It's set up right now as mass storage, so when you plug it into your PC, you'll see it come up as mass storage on your device. System info, this is the system info of the particular one that I have. So you can see all that. That's not that fascinating, I don't think. Date and time, here's where you'd go in and you'd set the current date and time. This is not actually correct. I'm not going to worry about setting it right now. I did have it set. Oh, you know what happened? We went to Mexico and I took it there, and that's why it's maybe a little bit wacky. GPS info, so this is going to bring up all of our GPS info. It's still gathering satellite information. You can see we only have one satellite here, ephemeroids from one satellite. So we're looking for a possible of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 satellites. So that's a pretty good possibility of 12 satellites. Of course, off of a minimum of 4, I think it is, they can get some pretty good information. So having some difficulty inside the house here, which is completely understandable. It has our Latin long completely wrong. So don't come to my address if you want to visit me. That's not my address. Moving on, we have NaviPath. So I've got it set to off right now to run GPS on startup. If I turn this on, then back to that startup scene. When it first comes on, it would go to the navigation screen, and that's probably the way most people are going to run it. I'm going to leave that on actually because that's the way I want to have it there. And this just sets up your path setting for your where it records the information. So you can go through there and change it. I would just leave it as is. Next one in line is the calibration, and so here's where you're going to calibrate the screen. I'll go through a quick calibration with you. You're just going to touch the dot as it moves, and it's reading to see that it's accurate. And now you've got 30 seconds to click the screen and tell it that you did that and you're happy with it. So that's done. Next one in line is restore set. So we're going to go back to factory reset. And I don't want to do that because I do have some settings here I want to keep, but if you got all muddled up and you want to erase everything you had, this is the place to do that. Next one is backlighting, and we've played with this a little bit. We've had some issues with this. I had this set incorrectly. I had this set to always on, and I'm going to tell you at night it was far too bright driving around. This thing was up in the windshield and I couldn't even see beyond it to drive properly, so I actually had to pull over. I was adjusting stuff, so I've got it turned way down. It's quite bright. I mean, if I turn it up, the camera's going to adjust for that brightness, but it gets really, really bright. Not so bad during the day and hot sunny days, but at night it's too bright. And I would strongly recommend turning this down to even 10 seconds or 30 seconds so you have time to see what you're doing and get ready to go, and then go. Next one in line is the volume. So we have a couple of things on volume here. We have the screen tap sound, and I don't know if you can hear that. I'll put it on loud, and then there, you can hear it there. So I've got that turned down a little bit. I find that a little bit annoying, but I like to hear it anyway. Up to the top menu we have languages, and there are a plethora of languages this thing can do. So there you go, there's a few languages there. Next one in line is the FM portion of this. So you can turn on the FM and you dial this to whatever frequency you want this thing to modulate at. So it will actually produce the commands, the GPS commands, etc. on 100.6 or wherever you set it. So find a radio frequency in your area that doesn't have a radio station on it already, because this will step over top of that. And you can set that to that, and then you can turn on your radio in your car and you'll hear the commands or the voice prompts from this GPS unit over your car radio. That's pretty cool. Unit conversion, it does a whole bunch of things: weight, mass, cubic, capacity, square area, rectangular, power, pressure, speed, temperature. So it's pretty cool. So you can go centigrade to Fahrenheit, and let's say today is 20 degrees in centigrade, which is 68. So that's kind of neat. I mean, you're out driving around, you've got that, I'm sure you've got that in your phone, but this is nice because you don't need cellular data. Next is a calculator. Fairly comprehensive calculator. You can do a number of things there. Being married to a math teacher, she loved this portion of it. But there you go, there's a nice little calculator that comes with it. Next up we have our favorites. So in here you could save your favorites. I haven't saved any, so you could add a file folder You'd add it under recent resident flash. It tells you where to save it, so you could save your favorites in there if you'd like. Games, there are a few games. My 7-year-old has played a couple of these. He really enjoys, I think it's Go Bang and Snake are the two that he's been playing. I haven't touched these. I'm not really a big game guy, but there you go. If you're bored sitting in a parking lot waiting for your significant other, you could play some games. Next up is Flash. Click on this, and this is your Flash player list. So I have nothing downloaded in there, but this is where you'd have all your files for playing stuff quickly. And ebook. You can upload ebooks. So there's a resident flash, of course. There's nothing loaded in here. This is just the empty file folders, but you could have ebooks downloaded to this. Photos, you can store photos in here. Again, I have nothing stored in here, but you could upload photos to your GPS unit for sharing with friends and family, or just keeping for safekeeping. Video, you can also store videos. However, the videos in here, I believe, have to be 420. I think they have to be a smaller format. But they do, in fact, you are in fact able to store videos in here. Music. You're also able to upload music files, so you could upload the music file and then play it from this via the FM modulator into your car stereo while you're driving. And finally, the reason everyone's here is the navigation mode. So, navigation mode fires up. Now, we just came back from Mexico a few days ago, and I had this down there. I was using it quite extensively, actually. So it's going to think we're still in Mexico, as I think it does here. We'll just go straight to the map. You can see the map layout. We're still searching for satellites. We're obviously not in Puerto Vallarta right now, but that's what it's doing. It's looking for our location, looking for GPS signal. Once that comes up, we'll have other options in the map. So you can click on that, and you can move the map around either by finger slide. You can zoom in, zoom out. If we go here, so there's a bunch of options. I'll go through these quickly here so you can see. Last known position, add alert point, historical traffic, so it tells you historically where the traffic is bad. So info up here touches on your current latitude and longitude. This is incorrect. We're obviously not in Mexico right now, but if we were, that would be correct. So there's a couple of different modes. One is looking straight down, more from an orthographic standpoint, and then the other one is a slight angle, so you can see what's coming in front of you. This is a nice way to go when you're driving. Zooming in and out, of course, is quite easy. You can see it showing gas stations all around and other points of interest, or you can zoom right in to see where you are close up. Back to the main menu, let's look on destination here. So you have a number of things you can do here. You can find a specific address, so if you click on that, you would type in your specific address and find a location that way. You can find places by description, so gas station, parking, restaurant, accommodation, custom search, where you can do your own custom search and look around last known points. So it's not going to work with this because we haven't. So it's not going to work with this because we haven't got GPS lock yet. And then the other one is quick search, so you can just go to quick search and then you just type in the name of the place you're looking for and it would bring it up if it's in the database. The third way would be to find on the map, so you're just going to scroll the map around and you can zoom in, sorry you don't pan into this, zoom in and find the area that you want, drop a pin and hit select, and that would be your route. So that's a third way of finding a location. History, this will show the history. Now I've deleted out a lot of the other history that I had in here because it did have my address in there. But this is all the history of your smart history items, so your search history basically. And that's handy because maybe you went somewhere and you can't remember where it was, or you want to go back there quickly. More. And under more we have a few of the same things we had before and a couple of extra things. So music player we already saw, picture viewer we saw that, unit converter, that's just the calculator. They've done it just in this format this time. Under clothing we have, you can look up sizes. So we have bra band sizes, bra cup sizes, shoes for women, dresses for women, shoes for men and shirts for men. So men kind of get screwed over. Well wait, there's more. Hats for men and pants for men. And that's it. So the men have a few things, but it's really important that you're able to find bra cup sizes. That's important, so you can figure that out, and as well band sizes, so you could easily figure out bra cup and band size right on this handy device. Fuel consumption, this is an interesting one. So you're going to put in your initial odometer reading, and then once you've done a trip, you're going to add the fuel that was consumed, and this thing will calculate your fuel consumption for you and give you warnings when you need to get fuel or when you're going to get low on fuel, or project how far you can drive on a given tank of gas. Sunset, sunrise, this is kind of neat. It shows a picture of the world, and it shows the light areas obviously where it's sunny right now, and then the dark areas where it is not. We are not in Mexico, but we are up in Canada here, and it is light here, so I can confirm that this is correct. Trip monitor, this is kind of interesting. We have no data saved right now. So this will monitor your trip data, everything from speeds to maximum speeds to time stopped to everything along the way. So this is pretty interesting. You can hit record when you start doing a trip, and it'll record all of your trip data for you, which is kind of a cool thing to look at as a summary. Country information, this goes through, I think there's every country in the world in here, I'm not really sure, but it goes through, let's choose one, let's choose Barbados, for example, and in Barbados, in the city, generally speaking, it's 60 kilometers an hour. In the countryside, the speed limit is as well as 60, expressway 60, and freeway is 60, so they have a pretty consistent speed limit there. Country code is 246, emergency number is 211, maximum blood alcohol content is 0.0 per mil. So they have a zero tolerance rating in Barbados apparently. On to the next screen, over here further to the right we have calculator, which is similar to the calculator we had before. And last but not least, help. So you can do a demo, or you can click on the about, and it'll tell you the basic information of this thing. The demo will walk you through a demo. So you can do a demo route. We'll choose a demo route. Let's do, well, just for chuckles, let's do the California Highway. And here we go. So it's going to walk you through a typical navigation. So you can see there's a couple of different screens that it comes up with here as you're driving. It does show the speed limit, which is handy, and it also gives you a warning when you're speeding. I've got it set to 110%, so if I go 10% over the speed limit, it'll warn me that I'm speeding, and that's actually kind of handy because there are times when I'm a little bit heavy on the gas pedal. You can see all your distances and your time left and your arrival time when you'll be arriving, the highway that you're on, your next intersection. Here's a slightly different view. Your goal is coming up in 800 meters. You can see it clearly there. So it's a pretty familiar format, the way they've got it set up, and quite easy to see, quite easy to understand. You can see the side roads, and it really does a good job. Like I said, we had it in Mexico, and it had all the back streets, all the side streets were in here, as well as a lot of the attractions, little restaurants, etc. So that's pretty cool. So we're just arriving at our destination here in this demo, and there it is. So under route options, here's where we can come in and we can create a route. Current GPS location or GPS position is one option. We can also add some search criteria here, and this takes us back to our searchable find address, find places, or find on the map. So we could either put in an address that we were aware of, or we could find places via type and description, or we could find it on the map, and it'll take us to our current location on the map. And then of course we would zoom in, find our place, drop a pin, and that would create, and hit select, and that would create a destination. You can add several destinations, so you could do a multi-destination trip. So under route options is also where you're going to cancel the route. So if you're driving along and you discover you're going to stop this or do something else, you can hit cancel route. These will be active once you're driving. Overview is going to show you your entire route in one screen. Avoidances is going to show you any problems along the way, and you can hit that along the way as well, as if you come into something like a road construction or a detour. Down here where we have this little jar of pink frothing liquid, I'm not sure what that is, we have a few options here under the menu. So we have skip navigation menu, capture screen, desaturated preview map, skip preview map, cockpit type, there's alternate 1 and 2, I left it on default. State mode, I've left everything on default here. Linear compass, that shows you your compass in the top right. Backlight details, that'll add more detail to your backlight or less. Save the NMEA, you can do that yes or no. And advanced speed limit, so this will warn you of advanced speed limit, like speed limits coming up. Compare saved routes, calibrate the screen, auto close highway panel, and that's it for that. Over here under Tools, takes us into Sounds and Warnings. So you have an option as to who and what is speaking to you. So there are a number of different voices in here in a number of different languages. So you can choose the one you like the best. I think I have natural voice, female named Jennifer. She seems fine to me. Verbosity level is either compact or verbose. Minimal, I left it on compact. Speed warning settings. This is where you can bring up, so I have it set to 110% of the speed limit. So when I'm 10% over, it warns me. Speed limit is always visible. That's nice. It tells you what the local speed limits are. Alert point settings. So alert point warnings and alert types. So we have multiple alert types. So we have speed cameras, mobile speed cameras, built-in speed cameras, average speed camera, red light camera. There's a lot of warnings here. So let's go into, let's just say one of these, and audio visual only when speeding. So it's only going to warn you when you're speeding. Only when speeding. So these are all stock settings. Audio and visual only when speeding. So this is good. It's already set up pretty well. Average speed camera. Okay, so those are all set up. That's stock settings. I haven't touched any of this yet. Warning sign alerts. So these are the warning signs you can have. Curves and corners. Distance from the curve and corner 300 meters. Lanes and passing. Distance 200 meters. Let's bump that up to 300 meters. Warning type audio and visual. General warnings 100 meters. Let's give us a bit more room on that one too. 300 meters. Traffic and crossing. Let's bump that up to 250 or even 300. Let's keep everything at 300 just so it's all the same. And truck specific. So if you're driving a large truck, there you go. There'd be truck specific instructions. Let's bump that also to 300. And I believe that's it for there. Customize your quick menu. So here's where you could go in and you could customize your menus. There's a lot of options in here. I haven't touched any of this. You can play with it if you'd like, but it seems pretty well set up, just stock from the factory. Driving time management. Here's where you're going to go in and ask for waiting time, configure driving timers. So here's where you could set up your max minimums. So professional drivers can drive a maximum of X hours a day. You could set that up in here and it would give you all of those parameters and prompts and warnings. Traffic. Historic traffic, so it shows you historically traffic where it's bad in the area or generally good. Route settings, here's where you can change your route settings. So what are you? Are you a car? Are you pedestrian, bicycle, emergency vehicle? So I do run in the ambulance as a paramedic. I could set this up as an ambulance and go from there. Truck, bus, taxi, that's it. Navigation mode, on-road, off-road. So it gives you options of maybe you're going off-road. It takes away a bunch of options when you go off-road. Route planning method, you can either choose fast, green, short, or easy. So the easiest driving, the shortest route, the fastest time to get there, or the greenest route, perhaps. Highways, use highways, yes or no. Period charge, so are you going to get charged for using this road either via pay per use toll or otherwise? And do you want to use ferries, carpool, or HOV, hyper occupancy vehicle lanes? Use yes or no. That's if you have, I think, 3 or more people in your car, depending on the area. And then unpaved roads. Do you want to drive on unpaved roads? User profiles, you have the option of, looks like 4 different user profiles. So if you had 4 different drivers using this thing, you could change it up. Map settings. So we'll go through these quickly. 3D mode, you have different modes, 3D, 2D, and 3D. That's it. Viewpoint is normal or high or low. So there's the angle of your viewpoint. I have that on midpoint, I think. Automatic overview is either on or off. That shows your whole trip summary. Colors is day, night, or auto. So I'm going to leave that on auto so it'll automatically switch back and forth from day to night. And then you can choose the color of the day map. So there's 12 different options. We'll go through them quickly. So there you go. I'm going to leave it on 1 of 12. Night map color, again, there's another 12 and they're probably very similar to the previous 12. 3D vehicle gallery, so you can choose what kind of car you are. So car, There's the 25 different options. So you can be a bike, a truck, a dune buggy, a bus, a car, a bike, a police truck, a person, a guy on a map, so there are a lot of options for setting that up. Pedestrian, you have again, looks like the same options, 25 of them. Very similar, yes, they look to be the same options as the other one. And then you have the same for other vehicles. So let's see if that's any different. And I believe no, it's not, it's the same. Landmarks are either on or off. Buildings are either on or off. 3D terrain is either on or off, and that's nice to have 3D terrain because you can see stuff around you, the mountains, etc. Track logs are either on or off, so that'll show previous track logs. So if you've driven there before, it'll show that on here. I'm going to leave that on actually, that's kind of neat. Place markers, and that shows you can choose accommodation, automotive, airport, business, cafe or bar, community, finance, gas station, leisure, marine, medical, parking, restaurant, shopping, sports, transport, and truck specific place markers. So that's interesting. Visual guidance settings, so data fields, you can set the speed limit, set all this stuff up in here to your liking. Use freeway services, facility types, go through the various facility types. Signposts, so it'll post signposts on your side screen, your heads-up display, junction view, tunnel view, route progress bar that's either on or off, that shows how far you are on your route. So that's it in a nutshell. I've used this thing quite a bit, locally as well as in other countries, Mexico, and it does really well. The biggest thing I like about this is you don't have to have cellular data. It just requires satellite connection, so that's pretty super. And right now I'm using it just free and clear. It's not charging or anything. You have about 2.5 hours of battery life with this thing when it's unplugged, as long as it's fully charged, so that works pretty well. We did use it walking around when we were in Mexico, and I use it extensively in my car driving. I'm probably going to take it to work today and use it in the ambulance and see if that see if I can use it there, although we're supposed to use our special system that we have already there. So if you're looking for a GPS unit, I would recommend this one for sure. It does so much. There's so much in the settings and stuff that you can change in there. The features that it has are incredible, or you can just simply use it as a simple GPS unit, and that's kind of where I stay with it most of the time. But this thing does a lot and is truly, in my opinion, amazing. If you're looking for a GPS, this is a good one, especially for, I think I paid $80 or $100. This is well worth the money.